Let's talk to Chris Cargill.
Chris Cargill.
Eastern Washington Director, Washington
And
Policy Center.
Centered. Boom.
Who knows his way around a dilly bar, I'm sure. Dillying and dallying.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Very well.
What do you think of dilly bars? Pretty good, huh?
Oh, man.
You know, I'm not a big fan of them, but my wife loves them. In fact, I had to go searching for one in the city when she was pregnant about 10 years ago because she was having a craving.
Instantly, she's catapulted ahead of you on our favorite person list. What's going on, Chris? We're winding down the old legislative session, and we got to come up with a spending plan, and everybody wants to throw more money at us, and what do we do? Where are we at?
Weird bills.
I mean, just overall, it's head-scratching. It's frustrating, to say the least. But, I mean, the conversations right now in Olympia are about the state's budget. The House and the Senate have already passed really record-breaking budgets in terms of spending. Now they're just trying to work out the details. We've mentioned that either way, state spending will increase by about 11, 12%, somewhere in there, this biennium. And when you add that to just the past few bienniums, spending will have shot up about 50%. A lot of questions about whether that is sustainable, of course. As far as controversial bills go, or bills that are up for a lot of discussion, the legislature has passed, and the governor has already signed, a bill to give felons the right to vote so long as they are out of state custody. Under the current law, released felons have to wait until they have finished all the conditions of their release, including community supervision and other things like that, before they can re-register to vote. But this changes that. The Senate has also passed both a cap-and-trade new tax as well as a low-carbon fuel standard. The cap-and-trade tax passed by the thinnest of margins, 25-24. 4 Democrats actually joined Republicans in voting against it. And the reason for that is because even conservative estimates have these bills drastically increasing the cost of a gallon of gasoline in the state. They will add about 20 cents onto the cost of a gallon by 2023 and up to 50 cents more in 2028. So these bills are really going to have a terribly damaging impact on working families and especially those on fixed income.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we see high gas prices now, but what you're saying is we're going to see them a lot higher next year at this time?
Yeah, I mean, what I mentioned, well, not next year at this time, but in the coming years.
Okay.
And what I mentioned on my Facebook page is that, look, the next time a politician tells you to blame an oil company for high gas prices, remember this. Because this alone is going to just dramatically shoot the costs up in our state. And so, you know, in border communities like Vancouver and Spokane and Pullman and the Tri-Cities, some people, you know, might just go over to the other state to get their gasoline, which of course then hurts local businesses as well. All in all, it's really, really terrible news for people who basically depend on their car and some gasoline to get their family around, get their kids to soccer practice, get to work, and they're going to have to pay a ton more.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, it must be fun to be in the majority because you're getting everything you want this year, right? I mean, you know, just cap.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's like a Christmas. It's like a Christmas tree with all sorts of presents underneath it.
Yeah. I mean, and then on top we get the state paid holiday, Juneteenth. I mean, it's just. Yeah, it's just a Christmas. Well, so are we gonna and we can't forget about the sales tax. I mean, not rather the capital gains tax. It's sitting out there. Is that going to become reality?
Yeah, the capital gain. Yeah, the capital gains income tax is certainly still out there. And the other thing that's out there is the gas tax. You know, we mentioned the carbon tax and the low carbon fuel standard, which is going to increase the cost. That's separate from the gas tax that they're proposing, which is about a $15 billion plan that includes about a 9.5 cent per gallon gas tax increase. So the thing that, I mean, if you add that, of course, onto the 50 cents for the other, you're looking at about a 60-cent jump in the cost of gasoline in our state. The other thing that caught our attention in this Forward Washington transportation package is that they are implementing a road usage charge, which we've talked about. It's also called a mileage tax. The state charges you a certain number of cents for every mile that you drive. Of course, you have to figure out a way to report that to the state, and that might include having a GPS installed in your vehicle. Oh. But aside from the privacy concerns, there are, of course, the monetary concerns, and this would charge about 2.5 cents for every mile that you drive. At first, it would only be for electric and hybrid vehicle owners, but then, of course, it will be expanded after that. You can bet your bottom dollar about that. And there's also a question of where the money goes. I mean, gas taxes are protected by the 18th Amendment and must be used for highway purposes, whereas the road usage charge contains no such provision. So theoretically, it could be used on public transit or other budgetary items that the legislature deems important.
You know, it's interesting you'd use the term bottom dollar, because I think we're going to wind up seeing my very bottommost dollar by the time all this is done.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just you can understand maybe one or two of these things passing, but throwing them all at the citizens of the state when the state is still trying to recover from the COVID economic lockdowns and in some ways still in the COVID economic lockdowns. I mean, throwing in income tax and a carbon tax and a low carbon fuel standard and a gas tax, and I mean, there's 2 or 3 others that we haven't even mentioned this morning. That could potentially torpedo the state's economy.
Oh my goodness! Well, we'll have to push for hydrogen-powered cars then, right? Jeez, I don't.
Well, maybe
there's a promoting hydrogen-powered cars, a purpose of the bill that was passed out of the legislature last week. So,
what about your neck of the woods? You know, we're thinking that Yakima is going to be pushed back to phase 2 today. What's the word on Spokane region?
You know, I haven't looked at the latest stats, but of course, the governor last week on Thursday, actually it was on Wednesday, I believe, said that the metrics were the metrics. He had no power to change them, that it was going to be based on science, and then the very next day he changed the metrics. So we'll see what happens. I don't know where Spokane's numbers sit right now, but some other state counties, of course, could be pushed back.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to know that we won't need any gas because we'll all just be at home again.
That's right. Raise the gas taxes all you want. We're not buying any because we're not going anywhere.